Dems plot loophole of rebellion if, Biden won't step down. Now, it is it is wild watching the Democrat Party implode in real time. Mind you, this is the same party that says that MAGA, that Trump, that Republicans are a threat to democracy, and they're not using democracy. They're bypassing democracy, bypassing their own rules to try to get rid of the aging Biden. When we told people years ago about the weekend at Bernie's Biden and how he was losing his mental acuity, and they called us conspiracy theorists and things like that. And now look, they're stuck with this man, trying to push him out. We gonna talk a little bit about it. Y'all already know how I feel about it. I want Joe to continue on to go against Trump, so Trump can demolish him. So we're gonna talk a little bit about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. All right, so let's talk about this news now. This comes from Zero Hedge's Tyler Durden. And he reports that while Joe Biden is decidedly dug in and isn't going anywhere, Democrats, the party of, quote, democracy, right, is on the ballot, are plotting a loophole if Biden refuses to step aside or drop out of the race. During a Friday morning Zoom call with 50 delegates, DNC delegate Elaine Kamrak said the apparent loophole allowing for such a rebellion if convention goers say they can no longer vote for their pledged candidate in good conscience, despite picking them in primaries or in caucuses. It says Kamrak, however you pronounce the name, I apologize, who has been on the DNC's Rules Committee for decades, informed the 50 delegates on the call that, quote, there's no such thing as Joe Biden releasing his delegates, and Joe Biden gets this. I don't know why the rest of the press doesn't get it, she said. According to the DNC rules, quote, delegates elected to the National Convention pledged to a presidential candidate shall in all good conscience reflect the sentiments of those who elected them. Cameron said that the rules previously mandated that delegates have to vote for whoever they're pledged to. However, that changed after the 1980 convention, in which Ted Kennedy and then President Jimmy Carter were battling for the Iron Throne. Unlike the Republican Party, Democrats can revote at any time. Wuhan Blitz primary Swan posted on X, apparently our democracy has been reduced to focus groups when the elites don't like the outcome of free and fair primaries. Of course, of course, they like democracy when democracy works for them. If democracy don't work for them, it's to hell with democracy, right? we already know that. We know they're hypocrites. They use that democracy thing, so-called democracy thing, to their advantage. And then when the people speak, they want nothing to do with that. And speaking of talking about X, y'all follow me on X, aka Twitter. I'm really on X a lot now, posting more stuff there. So check me out there for news as well. But given that Biden won nearly all the pledged delegates in the primary, those delegates can say that Biden no longer, quote, reflects the sentiments of those who elected him and can dump him at will. That's just crazy. Quote, see, we've never had a situation quite like this where the primaries were over, very clear-cut winner, and yet something was discovered unclosed, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, because I don't know what that means. After the end of the primaries, that caused people to severely doubt whether or not their nominee should proceed, she said. And Cernovic posted on X that in 2016, Democrats rigged the superdelegate process in their primary to stop Bernie Sanders. Y'all remember that? In 2024, they wouldn't allow debates. Biden won the primary, of course. Now they stuck with Biden. Now Biden is being forced out before the convention. Rich donors will select a new candidate. The party of democracy. I love that. I'm gonna have to repost that. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me a second. I know. Let me repost this. All right. The Friday call was led by Carmack, or however you pronounce the name, on behalf of delegates Our Democracy, a new group which launched last week. They just launched, wow, to inform delegates of their options before the August 19 to 22 convention in Chicago. The group claims they weren't formed to force Biden out. Yeah, right. We know they were. Can they try not? Can they try not lying about one thing for once? Right? They just formed for no. So you just formed for no reason, out of nowhere. Right during right when y'all already have y'all presumptive nominee. You're gonna form this organization. One anonymous delegate on the Zoom call asked how they should proceed in an open convention, to which Cameron replied that it would be tough to decide. And J.D. Vance, he posted, everyone calling on Joe Biden to stop running without also calling on him to resign the presidency is engaged in an absurd level of cynicism. If you can't run, you can't serve. He should resign now. And I disagree with J.D. Vance. Let him run. Stop telling him to Stop telling him to resign. Let him run. He's a dumpster fire. Quote, I would start with the people who voted for you to become a delegate, see what they think and see how they think you should proceed. You probably won't have polling. That's very good. You may have to rely on sort of national polling, she said. Stephen Miller, he posted on X, nothing says democracy like holding a fake primary and then having donors handpick a nominee behind closed doors. Absolutely correct. Such a revolt on the convention floor would amount to a political earthquake toppling the commander-in-chief. One anonymous Democrat pushed back on the Post's assertion that this was a loophole. Quote, it's not a loophole, that's the process. You can vote for whoever you want, they said, adding, quote, I think it's almost inevitable he drops out. Notice none of them are talking about Kamala Harris because she is terrible. The scale of a possible revolt is unclear, with the source saying he could imagine very few actually joining in Biden's forge if Biden forges ahead, particularly if former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and former President Barack Obama set aside their private misgivings following Biden's disastrous June 27th debate performance. But even an unsuccessful revolt could hurt Biden going into the November 5th election against former President Donald Trump, the Republican nominee. Quote, if it's 10 or 100 or 200, people in the media will say, oh my God, it's a massive defection, he added, and that was the New York Times. We are so effed, one senior congressional Democrat told the Post, as Victor Davis Hanson notes on X. Never in modern presidential history has a political party staged a veritable inside coup to remove their current president from his ongoing candidacy for his party nomination and re-election. Stranger still, the very elites and grandees who now are using every imaginable means of disposing Biden as their nominee are the very public voices that just weeks ago insisted that candidate Biden was, quote, sharp as a tack and it was fit as a fiddle, and they damned anyone who thought otherwise. That's true. It was just a few weeks ago. They are also the identical operators who Magnations ensured that there would not be an open Democratic primary. See, they did this to themselves. They shot themselves in the foot. They demonized the few on the left who weakly challenged Biden in the primaries, yet now they will select a replacement candidate who likely never received a single primary vote. Note further, Biden impeding forced abdication is not because he is non-compos mentis. Rather, the inside move is due to Biden's disastrous debate exposure that confirmed his dementia could no longer be disguised by a conspiracy of leftist politicos and media. But far more importantly, The impetus for removal is driven by the admission that Biden is headed for a climactic November defeat. Nobody wants to come step in because they know the wave is coming. There's no way they can stop it. Where Biden now ahead in the polls by 5 points, these same backroom machinists, machinists, I should say, would be insisting that he was still Pericles. Yet now Biden is being unpersoned and Trotsky'd as we prepare the new groupthink narrative of his likely surrogate, a soon-to-be praised, eloquent, mellifluous, and articulate Cicero Harris. I love that. She's definitely not articulate. But Harrison Crank, he said, how effed is our country when an 84-year-old woman is leading a coup against the 82-year-old president for being too old? You can't make this stuff up. Zero Hedge, they posted, please save democracy, Joe, by denying what the people want instead of folding to Obama and the top donors. Keep it going, right? So it said, and then we got OMG. Democrats release an ad urging Biden to pass the torch and drop out of the race. We are witnessing a full-blown collapse of the Democrat Party. So I'm gonna play this short clip here. Okay, here we go.
President Biden, you saved democracy in 2020.
Now you have a chance to do it again.
It's time to pass the torch and let us choose a new nominee.
One who can bring new energy, new hope.
And make sure Donald Trump never gets near the White House again.
Our country's future is in your hands.
So please, be the leader we know you are. Pass the torch, Joe.
Pass the torch.
Pass the torch.
Pass the torch.
Pass the Torch is responsible for the content of this advertising.
President Biden, you saved democracy.
Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't know y'all didn't see that. I don't know why my screen didn't switch. Hold on. I'll play it back for y'all. Oh, did it play? Oh yeah, it did play. I'm sorry. Okay, so going back. Going back to the article here. But it's a mess. The Democrat Party is an absolute mess. And like I said, they did it to themselves. They shot themselves in the foot, and now they stuck with this old man. They're not going to be able to get rid of him. They're not. And even if they do, if they bypass Kamala Harris, they're alienating their base because they play in these identity politic games. So they can't skip over her. But she's even more incompetent than Biden, so they're stuck. So I can't wait to see how this actually plays out. But y'all let me know what y'all think is going to happen. I'll leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.